welcome to the very first episode of This Week in Sheffield. I'm Adam Husicka, bringing you the latest stories from around the city and university. From local events to student-led initiatives, we've got a lot in store for you. Here are today's headlines. Sheffield Pedlar Market celebrates 10 years of food, music and creativity. Let's take a look at how this anniversary event marks the milestone and what's next for the venue. 1 year on from the Gaza-Israel conflict, a Sheffield medical student is taking a different approach to activism. His campaign, Goals for Gaza, is raising awareness and funds for Palestine. The Western Park Museum hosted a fashion show celebrating a wide range of designers and styles, which comes at the same time as their Caribbean Footsteps exhibition. Over 1 year ago, the Wave opened its doors to students and staff, but what do they think about the new building, and how does it compare to Sheffield's first university building? Stay tuned for this and more on This Week in Sheffield. And coming up later is an interview with Students' Union President Daisy Watson about what her plans are for this upcoming year and what we can expect from our new officers. Now, Pedlar Market has become one of Sheffield's favourite food, drink and music venues, offering something for everyone and bringing together diverse communities. Over the past decade, it's grown into a cultural hub that supports local talent and small businesses. To mark their 10-year anniversary, they've thrown a party to remember. Joseph Murphy reports.
Pedlar Market celebrates its 10th anniversary today. This warehouse extravaganza showcases Sheffield's best and puts food, drink, music and more on display.
The 10th birthday means a lot to Pedlar. I think there's been a lot of street food events, like Sheffield's incredible for street food markets. Without anyone here, it just wouldn't happen for sure. And that even extends to the independent artists and makers from the stalls, the street food vendors who are always really excited to be here.
Tonight's birthday celebrations showcase street food from across the world, craft stalls with just about anything you can think of, and music of every genre.
It kind of powers you on to find the next good DJ, the next good band, like grassroots bands, music. It went through its challenges, so I know in lockdown, like hospitality, but because it's such a big space and there's a community of street food traders that really want to graft and get things out there, they kind of flipped it up and did delivery or did outside seating. We did pop-ups in Chesterfield, we've been working in Wakefield as a peddler as well, and we've been dabbling a little bit with some venues in Leeds.
For 10 years, Pedlar Market has been a Sheffield staple on the first Friday of every month, bringing Sheffield people a party like no other.
My favourite Pedlar Market experience is trying all the different food each time I come. There's always something new.
Food from all over the world here, and I love trying new things.
Dancing to the groovy music.
It's got to be the music, it's always good vibes, it's always good fun.
Browsing all of the little crafty stores, independent creators.
This Kelham warehouse showcases Sheffield's best local talent alongside internationally recognised food vendors and musicians.
Finding new bands and working with different artists is really exciting part of it. Even before my time, everyone recognises people that used to be out all night on a Friday are now coming 12 o'clock on a Saturday with their dogs and their tiny babies, and they're still kind of interacting with Pedlar but in a different way. Whoever you are, whether you're a family or young professional or student just coming to Sheffield, you can kind of walk around and find your little bit of Pedlar.
Pedlar Market has shown us how various communities can come together to enjoy great food and music. It's going to be exciting to see how this venue paves the way for Sheffield's cultural scene. Joseph Murphy, This Week in Sheffield.
It's now been 1 year since the Gaza-Israel conflict, and many continue to call for a ceasefire and increased aid for Palestine. A fifth-year medical student from Sheffield is taking a unique approach to raising funds and awareness. His campaign Goals for Gaza combines his love of football with his passion for activism. Philippa Justino has the story.
Here at the University of Sheffield is where Haider Ali, a final year medicine student, has launched a unique campaign called Goals for Gaza to raise funds and spread awareness for the Palestinian people.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I was part of the ice hockey here at the Islamic Society, and as part of our charity week, a lot of people were doing different challenges to raise money. So someone was shaving their head, someone was swimming in the Thames, and I thought, what am I actually good at? I thought I'm okay with football, so why not use football to raise money? So then for every pound donated, I said I'd do 10 kick-ups. So essentially whatever gets donated, I times by 10 and I do that many kick-ups.
Having spent many years campaigning for the cause, Haider even took a trip to the West Bank last September, where he spoke to local people about their lived experience.
So my trip to the West Bank was September last year. I was there for 5 days, and on my last day after the night prayer, I went to a shop that I visited every night, and I told the shop owner that this is my last night in Jerusalem and I'm going home tomorrow. And he came around and he gave me a hug, and he said to me, when you go home, tell your friends, tell your family about us, tell them about our cause, tell them to visit us. And I realized that in that moment, it's not just about let's donate £5 to Palestine, let's give £10 to Palestine, but it's more about standing in solidarity with them and their cause. For people who feel hopeless, the number one advice I'd give is to have faith in God, faith for the Palestinian people, and help them in any way you can. And I know people are going to ask, what does help in any way you can mean? I think on a wider perspective, I think the biggest way you can help them, but also yourself in helping them, is educating yourself. I think a lot of people, we claim to love Palestine, but how much do we actually know about Palestine? A lot of people won't know the basic history. They won't even know which river and which sea, for example.
It's times like these when it's easy to lose hope that we have to trust our local communities and people like Hader, who lead grassroots efforts to make a positive change in the world. Libba Justino, This Week in Sheffield.
Each year, we elect Students' Union officers to represent our interests and help make the university a better place for everyone. Sheffield's SU has been ranked the best in the country for several years running, so the expectations are high. This year's SU President Daisy Watson plans to focus on increased student representation, sustainability and institutional transparency. So what can Sheffield students expect in the year ahead? Well, thank you so much for joining me here today. It's a real pleasure to have you here. How are you?
Really good, actually. I'm very excited for this. It's nice to actually be able to talk about the work we're doing and be able to engage slightly and show students that there is an awful lot going on in Sheffield.
Yeah. So what would you say are your main kinds of plans over the next academic year as the SU President?
There's a lot, because the role is such a big role. So a lot of my role is oversight of the team that we have, so looking over what other people in my team are doing. So we have some amazing projects running this year. We've just launched Global Fusion Friday, which is an opportunity for cultural communities to come together and share food and share cultural traditions. Equally, we've got a bunch of other amazing projects coming, but specifically for me, a big focus of mine this year is working towards a lot of stuff to do with our Another University is Possible campaign. So at the moment I'm working on a divestment report for the university, working to hopefully get them to reinvest some of their money in more green and ethical investments, which even if it's not that much, a win is a win. And moving forward with that more data-driven perspective, but similarly working on, I've got a really exciting big event coming up in February, which is the Sexual Health and Guidance Week at the Students' Union, which will just be a week full of exploring intimacy, and whether that be intimacy in relationships, friendships, casual relationships. It's going to be really, really good, and we've done a lot of work prior to this week basically going forward. So we've just secured free sexual health testing within the Students' Union, and we've also secured a mobile unit that will come onto campus once a month. So it's a larger product leading up to this one big week. So there is so much going on. Yeah.
You mentioned investing more in green initiatives. Are there any specific projects that we might see on campus?
I think a lot. So we're moving towards, the Students' Union at the moment is in the midst of writing their sustainability strategy, which means that we're going to have a framework to be able to lead and direct what we choose to do in terms of green initiatives. We're exploring the possibility of putting solar panels on the Students' Union. We're exploring the possibility of further removing plastic water bottles. So at the moment we've removed still water plastic water bottles from the Students' Union, but we obviously also provide a bunch of other plastics. So looking at how can we tackle that? Is there an ability for us to sell reusable water bottles for cheaper? Our welfare and sustainability officer Nadia is doing a bunch of work to kind of look at how we can link up with the university and the Students' Union to generally make our campus a lot greener. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of work going on.
So you've been the SU President now over summer, basically. So what was your election like? How did that all go, and how's it been, here over summer?
God, the elections feel like literally 10 years ago, because they were about February or March. So it's these huge 4 weeks where you're talking to loads of people, you're out campaigning all the time. In my case, I was out drawing huge daisies all over university. We've got this hilarious joke that I think the only way that university security know who I am is on the basis that they were chasing me around with their power washer whilst I was drawing these huge daisies around campus. It was super intense, and you kind of, you're sat in that election spot, and I will never forget, hearing my name called out when it was like, Daisy Watson is your next SU President. It kind of, this huge sigh of relief comes over you in terms of the fact that, oh my God, like all of that work was worth something. And obviously it is, even if you don't win, but to be able to actually put your actions into reality is amazing. And then having this summer, so I started in June, so I've been president for about 4 months now, 3 months now. It's been insane. Like, it's been crazy. It's so busy. You think the summer period would be slightly quieter, but it's not, but in the most amazing way. So I've been traveling around the country, going to other students' unions, speaking to politicians, speaking to project leads, doing a lot of the project-based groundwork for myself and working with the team and getting to know this new team. And it's been a really, really good summer, and a lot has come into change. So all of our democratic systems are changing. Well, now the academic year has started and SU Council is about to be elected. That's all changed. We've had the introduction of the new Liberation Committee and a variety of other changes just across the Students' Union to hopefully increase representation. So
you mentioned the SU Council. Talk me through that. You know, what does that mean to students?
So the Students' Union Council, I think it's quite an ambiguous element in the Students' Union, because most students, rightly so, view the Students' Union as this building that offers fun, which is what we absolutely aim for. But equally, we do have the SU Council, which is the highest decision-making body in the Students' Union.
Not just the Foundry.
It's not just
There's
the
a
Foundry.
lot more to it than the Foundry.
The Foundry is a lot of it, in a sense. We've just done up the Foundry as well, so it definitely, please go to the Foundry. But the Students' Union Council is basically where all of our decisions get made. So when I reference back to the fact that we've got rid of still watered plastic bottle, that was SU Council. And for example, in Foundry, we now got the free the nipple policy, which means that in Foundry events over 18, you can get your nipples out, no matter what your gender is, no matter how you identify. Generally, SU Council is the space where if you want to make a change within the walls of the Students' Union, you want to make a change to the way we operate, that's the place to be. And I think really trying to draw as many students into that space as possible, and hopefully these changes to the structure to make it slightly more discursive, get people in talking and not just like voting, putting their hands up, but also talking about policy and talking about issues, will get students more in that room.
Yeah. Now the SU officers obviously represent the entire student body, and it's a very diverse team. So what's it been like, you know, with some of them having been re-elected and some people new to their roles, you know, what's it like being, you know, adjusting and working with everyone so far?
It is a big adjustment. I think falling into any new team is huge, especially when you're in a job that has quite a lot of pressure to it. So, you know, you have to come in those first few months and you have to talk about your ideas and learn your differences. But I will say that I think we've got really, really lucky. We had the first year of re-elected officers in the history of the Students' Union. It has offered a lot of wisdom to a lot of the stuff we do, but equally we have 3 new officers. So myself, Nadia, the Welfare and Sustainability Officer, and Jeff, our International and Community Officer. And we've brought this kind of new sense of transparency, new viewpoint on a lot of the things that the team were doing last year, and I think that combination has led to a really, really productive team, and we've got a lot of joint projects going this year, which I think are a testament to how much it's working and how well our team is working together. So I'm really, really excited to see what we can do.
Are there any projects that you can maybe share that we might be seeing over the next few months or the year?
So some really exciting stuff is coming out of, in particular, Another University is Possible is our biggest campaign. It's a strategic campaign, so it's aiming to last anywhere between 5 and 10 years through officer teams, which is so exciting because we've actually never run one properly before, like a strategic campaign in Sheffield Students' Union. So seeing how this comes into play. Another University is Possible is the work to demilitarise, democratise, decarbonise and decolonise our curriculum and our just university experience. A lot of work is going into that, so we're hoping to plan workshops and feedback shops for people to come in and talk about those sorts of things, do Ask Your University events where we get university officials to come in and answer and ask questions. Similarly, we've got a really cool festival campaign coming up called Let Them Play, which is a celebration and protection of the arts. So we're working with venues across Sheffield, and our Activities and Development Officer is really looking into how we can get more funding into the arts at the university, ensuring the drama studio stays open and is looked after as much as possible. We're hoping that that will take form in like a music festival that's run by the Sheffield Students' Union across Sheffield, kind of like our very own tramlines. So we'll see if that comes into play, but there is so much going on.
You mentioned Another University is Possible about, you know, demilitarizing and stuff. So what would that look like? You know, what would that involve? It's
a really hard conversation, I think. I mean, I know we're all having that conversation at the moment because of what's happening in Gaza, and I know that that's a very active issue on campus, rightly so, because students do feel very passionately about it, the world feels very passionately about it, and yet our university is very complicit in it. We're in a lot of conversations at the moment about exactly how to be more transparent, about exactly the status the university has, or how much complicity the university does have. Is it production? Is it investment? We're in the stages of doing that foundational base of where are we actually? Like, where do we stand? And then hopefully moving into more conversations around, for instance, the divestment report will work to slowly over years and years and years, slowly divest the university from unethical investments. That will make a huge difference because money makes a lot of these things go round. But similarly, just getting more interaction with students, like we saw it a lot with our encampment, in the fact that, you know, students want to be heard and they want to be spoken to and they want to be listened, and trying to find a pipeline with the university for them to actually feel as if that communication can happen and we can have those conversations in a more open forum. So a lot of work is being done, but I will admit the militarisation amongst those four is definitely amongst the most difficult one, but one that especially I, within my role, am very keen to work on.
I think that's something that will mean a lot to students in Sheffield. And is there anything in particular that you're most looking forward to doing over this academic year?
Oh, great question. Oh my God. I mean, I don't know if I could answer one thing, like becoming SU president. Prior to becoming SU president, I was so involved in different areas of the Students' Union, and you know, you think you get this job, being SU president, and you're like, I can't wait to do this, this and this, and I'm very excited to run my campaigns. Like I'm really, really excited to see what we can do, specifically things like sexual health, things like demilitarisation, decarbonisation. That's where a lot of my passions do rest. But equally, I think just interacting with students, it's been really nice having students back, and it's turned out to be one of my favourite parts of the role is, you know, students come into my office and they're like, I have this amazing big idea, and I'm like, okay, we'll make it happen. And I know that that's not an explicit one thing, but having those interactions and having students come up to you and say that I never would have been able to have that opportunity, I think it's just like my absolute favourite thing, and I can't wait for that to keep happening and, you know, getting that feedback from students as much as possible.
Yeah. I think the student involvement is something that is so important, and that a lot of students actually don't realise about the SU and the offices, that you can just go and talk to them about something, you know, that you find is important on campus.
Yeah, absolutely. I would urge, please, come and speak to us, because, you know, we are elected by the students, we're held accountable by the students, and the whole reason that I'm even sat here or sat up in that weird kind of glass box office in the first place is because people thought that I could do something, and I would never be able to achieve anything without the help of others, and so I would really urge students to try and get as involved as possible.
Well, I really look forward to seeing what you and the other officers this year get up to. In my final year, it's going to be really nice to see. But yeah, thank you so much for coming in today. It's been a real pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and hopefully, you know, we can keep you updated on everything that we're doing.
That would be really great.
Amazing, thank you.
The MFA Western Park Fashion Show brought together fashion and art for a night under the stars. With the historic museum as a backdrop, the outdoor runway featured stunning designs and live music from a string quartet. It was a special evening with 2 exciting acts and a VIP experience that made a memorable night for Sheffield's fashion lovers. Tasia Booth reports.
Sheffield is known for its green spaces, its indie music and its sports, but here the organisers of this event are hoping to put Sheffield on the map as a rising fashion hub. This fashion show is the 5th edition of its series. They've been taking place in various locations around Sheffield, but today it's being held in Western Park Museum, which is home to the Caribbean Footsteps, which is an exhibition celebrating Black Caribbean heritage in Sheffield.
My name is Lisa, and I'm currently a model for Hendrix Foundation. And this is my second show, so the first show I did was the Cathedral one in April, and yeah, I'm excited for this one. Quite surprised that there's so much fashion and like so many fashionistas around here in Sheffield. Like, it's really caught me off guard, but I love it. There's so many people from so many different diverse cultures, and it's actually amazing to see that.
This show took place just days before Black History Month, and it's provided a platform for diverse, emerging and establishing designers to present their pieces. But it's not just about the clothes, it's about bringing together the community and supporting local talent.
I'm Meg, founder and head designer of the women's wear label, Meg J. Gardner. We were invited today to come and showcase 2 of our collections at the Hendrix Fashion Show, and it's our first time coming. Favourite part of the show has been the diversity with everybody. It's been fantastic to meet so many different creators from so many different backgrounds. It's a fantastic show with models coming from all over, and getting to network and speak to everybody and learn about where they've come from and their stories.
My name is Adrian Bent. I'm the founder and director of Big Ben Family Group, and me and Hendrix Foundation, we're partners together to create this amazing fashion show. The architecture, it's beautiful. And don't forget, we've got the Caribbean Footsteps inside as well. Yeah, so all together, it comes together beautifully. It's absolutely perfect. Diversity is great. That's what it's all about, isn't it? We love it. It's for all. Fashion's for all. Diversity's been brilliant. It's been brilliant. Fantastic.
My name's Adam Husicka, and today I'm launching my brand called Annika Britannia.
Perfect. Talk me through the collection that you put out today.
So the collection that I put out today, every piece had a different meaning, and when I started designing this collection, I wanted to symbolise every different type of culture. So the point of my brand is that I'm trying to mix Moroccan and British cultures together because I'm a Moroccan British girl.
This event was a huge success and highlighted the vital contributions of diverse creatives to the industry, which was a great way to kick off Black History Month right here in Sheffield.
The Wave is Sheffield's newest university building and arguably its most iconic. It has celebrated its first full year in use since students began taking their classes there last September. The Wave is home to a number of departments, now offering cutting-edge facilities and study areas. But why don't we revisit the university's oldest building, Firth Court, which was opened in 1905 and offers a great look at just how much our university and Sheffield have changed over the past century. Holly Bradbury has the story.
The Wave has now been open to students for a full year. It is the newest building in the university and the most sustainable. It is the heart of the Department of Social Sciences, and in November last year it was honoured with its own cake from none other than Bake Off Rinnerborough Hall. So what do the students that use it think?
Well, obviously it's a big step forward. We were sort of shipped off to Mappin Street in the middle of nowhere a few years ago.
There's lots of labs, seminars, lots going on here. The cafe's great.
The place is great, a lot of greenery, a lot of sunlight.
It's definitely much different than the other buildings.
It's got good location near to the Goodwin and Crooks.
The lecture theatres are really cool. The construction process wasn't easy though. The project was started in 2019, but soon after the whole building was demolished because of structural faults. It was then restarted and completed around early 2023. A number of departments have moved to the Wave, namely the Department of Journalism.
The journalism department was a place called Mappin Street, which I really loved because it was really in the heart of the action. We moved last summer to the Wave. Officially, we started back obviously with other students in September. The Wave itself is just such a fantastic building. It is a wonderful place to work, and it has been a big move. In Mappin Street, we had a radio studio, a TV studio, an ops room that was miles away from the actual TV studio. But now we've got not just a radio studio where I am today, but next door to me is a podcast studio. So we've got two big studios.
But how does the university's latest edition compare to its first? Let's go back in time to Firth Court, the university's oldest building, which opened 120 years ago. It was built with penny donations from the public to help start the university, which has now grown to one of the largest in the UK. Whilst it's nice to appreciate buildings like the Wave, it's also good to go back to the ones that started it all and wonder about what might be next. Holly Bradbury, This Week in Sheffield.
And that's all for today. We've covered current affairs, culture, fashion and some university news. This Week in Sheffield still has a lot more to cover in the future, so be sure to follow our social media and stay up to date there. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I look forward to welcoming you back in this studio in our next episode. Bye for now.